Gate change at midnight he swore was just a delay. The alert blinked on our shared calendar at 7:12 p.m. MIA right arrow JFK late boarding. It slid into the square like a polite lie and stayed there, unreadable as glass. 2 minutes later, Justin texted, "Gate change. Might be past midnight. Don't wait up." Reddy only ever used the heart when the sentence wanted to be less specific than a clock. I had been about to plate the little victory I'd made of dinner, a seared snapper, and a lime I was pretending not to overuse. So I lit the stove again and turned the fish into a story for tomorrow. The apartment performed the elegant kind of quiet Miami rentals aspire to when they forget you've been living in it. Outside, Collins Avenue rehearsed nightlife at a volume that prefers strangers. At 7:38 my phone buzzed with a number I didn't know and a message that knew me anyway. If he's stuck at the airport, he's at the Skylark Lounge bar, not the gate. Bring the face you use when you don't want to be told what you already know. It was signed with an M like a smooth door jamb. Mateo worked 3 lives into one passport: aviation photographer, airline whisperer, person you notice twice before you recognize what your body has filed under survival. He and Justin had been orbiting the same art fair dinners all week, swapping compliments like drink tickets. I had liked Mateo the way you like a hurricane when it's still a rumor, interested, annoyed at my interest, amused at my annoyance. "Why tell me?" I typed. "Because you trust calendars," he wrote. "Tonight requires stairs." The Skylark Lounge makes a career of dimness and glassware. I found him in a corner where a wall of bottles pretended to be constellations. He had his camera bag at his feet, the zipper not all the way closed, the way people who don't like being asked to stay open leave things. He didn't hug me. He didn't touch me at all. He looked at my mouth like he was checking his exposure. "You'll want this," he said, sliding a laminated guest pass across the marble. It was the kind with a barcode that acts like a key if you show it what it wants to see. "Service corridor to the airport hotel, 2nd floor, end of the wing. If he's delayed, he's delaying there." "You always like stairs," I said. "I like exits," he said, "and the way people choose them." The pass opened a door that smelled like carpet and secrets. A narrow hallway connected the lounge to the threadbare glamour of the airport hotel, the sort with views of runways and wills. At the end of the wing, a door was propped with a luggage tag, its barcode a tired mouth. Inside, a suite had arranged itself for witnesses. Floor-to-ceiling glass, the blue ache of planes blinking decisions in the dark, a couch that made promises it didn't intend to keep. Justin stood by the window with his jacket off and his tie loosened 1 thumb's worth of convenience. Beside him, elbow close, was Lionel, a collector who cultivates the rumor that he is never photographed full-on because his good side charges a fee. Lionel's hand rested on the edge of the minibar like a man who has taught furniture to surrender. His laugh was practiced generosity. I could have made a good exit. Instead, I knocked on the doorjamb with 2 knuckles. Both heads turned. Justin said my name like a coin he guessed right about. Lionel smiled the way men smile when they like the idea of their necks. "You said delay," I said to Justin, as if different vowels could solve anything. "This looks on time." "Boarding is boarding," he said, which was either wit or an alarm. He stepped away from the glass and made the distance confess itself. Lionel said, "You must be the curator's curator," and held out a hand that wore a ring like a firm deadline. His tongue rested against his teeth in a way that implied scheduling power. "Stay. Have a drink. Tell us whether gates mean anything when the runway is empty." "Your metaphors are properly fueled," I said. I took the hand because every version of me knew not taking it would be a memo to be used later. His palm was nearly cool, as if heat were beneath him. Mateo hadn't followed me in. He stayed in the hall, leaning on the door frame like a suggestion. His eyes flicked from Lionel's ring to Justin's tie and finally to my wrist. I wasn't wearing a watch. He looked like a man who knew how time was kept anyway. "Flight 187 is boarding," Lionel said, glancing at his phone as if it had courted him. "But planes don't leave without the right people on them." Justin's mouth attempted a joke and arrived at weary. He said to me, he wanted to see the runway. He thinks goodbyes are cinematic. "I think goodbyes are costly," Lionel said. "Same math, different currency." He lifted his glass and touched it to nothing and took a sip. He stared at me the way men do when they are deciding whether to purchase a narrative. I stared back the way men do when they know the price of stories is always paid in tomorrow. "I'll wait downstairs," Mateo said from the hall, "unless you want me to leave you a better verb." "Leave me a noun," I said, and he smiled and said, "Room," and let the door rest on its latch. Justin said, "You came," and his voice went for relief and fell into fact. "You invited me," I said. "You just used someone else's phone." He exhaled through his nose. It sounded like a plane after it lands. "He sent me the photo of his view," he said. "I forwarded it to Mateo with your name because I didn't trust myself to dial the right door." Lionel made a small noise of pleasure at the honesty, as if truth were a tapas. He set his glass down and touched the back of Justin's hand, quick as a code. "This is your cue," he said. "Either ask him to trust you while you want to be interesting, or ask him to kiss you until you're not." "If you want me to leave," I said to Lionel, "say the word and pretend it's an apology." He grinned. "Your man knows what he's doing," he said, and walked past me with a nod that made the corridor flatter itself in his direction. The door clicked with all the finality any latch can muster in a room that refuses to be virtuous. The hush that followed had a texture. Justin looked at me and moved his hand to my jaw, not quite touching. I stepped in and put my mouth on his because I didn't owe the night our inventory. He kissed me like a man who wanted to rewrite the worst sentence he had ever thought of saying. His breath tasted like airport champagne and adrenaline. My hands found the heat at his waist. His fingers found the hinge of my neck and held me there like something that had voted to stay. We didn't undress. We made a small country out of buttons and heat, and the kind of yesies that keep jawlines honest. We stopped when the room decided we were done. He kept his fingers on my wrist where the pulse behaves. He said, "I didn't kiss him," which is a line you only get to use if the room can't prosecute you for wanting to. I sent the photo because I wanted to be pulled back into a sentence that didn't require a donor acknowledgement. "You wanted to be caught," I said. He nodded. Mateo knocked once and opened the door an inch with the gentleness you reserve for sleeping children and people you don't want to lie about. "Your gate is boarding for another 10 minutes, he said. "If you miss it, the overnight hotel shampoo smells like old coins." "I'm not staying," Justin said, looking at me instead of errant reflections. "We have a table tomorrow and a fight we promised not to do in public. I choose that." "Good," Mateo said. He didn't smile. He looked at my mouth like it had told him secrets, then glanced at Justin's tie and reached in fast to retie it. I watched his hands perform competence a breath from my life and did not admit how it made me feel. He stepped back. "Go," he said. "I'll run your bag to the gate." "You're not on this flight," Justin said. "Airports are my church," he said. "I know where the doors are." Justin grabbed his carry-on and reached for my hand and stopped with the space of a confession between us. "Come home tomorrow," I said. "I left the plant alive," he said. Then you deserve to live with it, I said. He kissed me once more with the speed of a man who knows boarding closes exactly when it promises to, and left with Mateo at his shoulder like a better verb. The suite radiated a warmth that made me want to forgive furniture. I opened the minibar and took one of the small waters no one buys. It tasted like a hotel room trying to confess. At the elevator bank, Lionel leaned against a column studying a text with a half smile. He looked up and then deliberately looked away. "If you ever want to drink something good enough to make restraint interesting," he said, "I am very available to be the reason you later tell the truth." "I'll lowercase think about it," I said. "Your man is lucky," he said, like he was quoting an author who owed him a thank you page. "He's smart," I said. "Luck is for gate assignments." Mateo came around the corner at a trot that made staff doors admire him. "He's at C14, he said. He turned at the right sign without needing to look back. "Do you keep score?" I asked. "I keep track," he said. "It's different." "Why did you text me?" I asked. "Really?" He leaned his shoulder to the cold elevator glass and looked at me the way photographers do when they've already taken the picture and are deciding whether to show you. "Because I like him," he said, nodding toward the gates past my ribcage. "And because I like your mouth when it stops acting like a museum guard and starts acting like it belongs to a person." "Then what do you get?" I said. He smiled, small and private. "Maybe someday I get to kiss it without needing the moral attached," he said. "Maybe not. Maybe I just get to be the man who texted the right person and didn't pretend he was noble for it." "You kissed me," I said, remembering a fridge full of smoke and laughter. "I remember," he said. "You tasted like limes and refusal." He reached for my wrist the way men do when they have decided to count you. His thumb pressed into the place heat writes its first chapter. He did not hold, he noted. He let go. "You'll be okay," he said. "You know how to go home and laugh at the right times." "Come with me," I said, on a current I hadn't known was under me. He shook his head, not rehearsed, genuine. "Not tonight," he said. "Tonight he needs to arrive alone, and you need to be the first thing he sees that doesn't take his picture. Tomorrow, maybe, I will be a drink you only half finish." At home, the building smelled like laundry and other people's decisions. I let myself in and left the lights low. The snapper I'd rescued earlier waited without judgment in the fridge. I ate it cold, standing, the way men do when the kitchen is the only witness they trust. When I was done, I texted Justin nothing, and he texted me a photo of the gate rug, which is how he says he's sorry without making me forgive him yet. I showered the airport off my skin. In bed, I left space for time to do its work. When I woke to the sound of the key, the room didn't flinch. Justin set his bag down like it had been trained and climbed into the quiet with the caution of a man crossing a river he wants to remember. He put his hand on my chest without asking the night to explain itself. I took it and put it on my throat until he felt my breath and decided not to improve it. "I didn't kiss him," he said again into the dark. "I kissed you," I said. We slept with our contradictions lined up like customs forms. Morning arranged itself into a version we could carry. For a while we didn't speak. Coffee understood. Then he said, "Do you love me in the way that keeps me from pretending airports are a personality?" And I said, "I love you in the way that makes you come home on purpose." Around 10 a.m. my phone buzzed. "Next time choose a balcony with better weather. Mateo." I wrote, "You're very proud of your exits." He wrote back, "I'm proud of your arrival." No punctuation, somehow that made it truer. At noon, Lionel posted an artfully anonymous shot of a runway. The caption was a sentence about possibility that kept forgetting to be ashamed of itself. I scrolled past and didn't save it. In the afternoon, Justin sent me a photo of our kitchen table with the plant we keep forgetting to water sitting like a referee. Room exists, he wrote. I believed him because I could see my own fingerprints on the glass. We ate together that night, not apologizing, not bragging. In bed, we left less space and let the room supervise without the window's opinion. Before sleep took him, he said, "Tomorrow I am interesting only to you." And I said, "I'll be home," the way you say a password under your breath. The calendar square for the new day was empty. We left it that way on purpose, not because we were saints or clever, but because sometimes the most erotic thing a city can offer is a door you've already paid for, and a man who closes it behind him because he remembers the code, not the one for the lock, but the one for your mouth.